Hello, welcome back to my book channel. Let's talk book series I'm in the middle of, and to be quite honest, I did not expect it to be this many. When I was pulling books off my shelves, it was eye-opening how many book series I'm in the middle of. I genuinely didn't expect it to be this much. I thought maybe 5. No. I'm in the middle of way more. I am so behind on my reading. It is what it is, but this is just very eye-opening. I really need to prioritize reading book series I'm in the middle of rather than new releases, because new releases just grab my eye. It's something I know I need to read, and then book series is I just forget that I need to read them. So I have my book stack here, and we're gonna go through the book series I'm in the middle of, and we're gonna shame me. Now, the way I am doing this is it's book series I'm in the middle of where I have the next book and I haven't read it, or I need to order the next book because it's already out. This does not include book series that I'm in the middle of that I'm waiting for the next book, because that's out of my control. And honestly, if it was that, this would be endless and we would be here forever, and no one wants to listen to me yap for longer than necessary. So these are book series that I'm in the middle of that I have or need to order the next book because it's already out. So let's dive in with the very first book being, I don't know if this counts, but this is the prequel in the Bewitched series by Laura Thalassa. I am planning on reading it this month. I'm actually taking it with me to Paris because it's a paperback, it's easy to read, and it's so damn floppy. I really enjoy the series. I am really excited to see what these were. I don't know if this would be spoilery, but this is a book about these characters but in their previous life. I really hope that that's not spoilery. I'm pretty sure Laura Thalassa has that on her Instagram, but it's just their story before their story. So it's just following their history before what happened to put them in the position that they are in the main series. So I'm really excited to see another side of these characters. I'm really excited to see the FMC of who she was before the main series, because she's more reincarnated than the MMC. I really hope. I'm so sorry if that's spoilery. I really don't think it is. But yeah, I'm really excited to get another glimpse to another side of their story. So I do think that this is going to be read pretty quickly. I've only had this for like 2 weeks. It's been out for a while, which is why it's on this list. But it's a prequel, so I don't know if it really counts as a series. But we're going to count it. But I am planning on reading this, so this won't be a book series I'm in the middle of for very much longer. The next book series is one that's been on my TBR for so long. It's The City of Dusk. The second book is called The Midnight Kingdom. Yeah, Midnight Kingdom by Tara Sim. I had this book from my Fairy Loot New Adult subscription. I think I was one of the very first batch of subscribers to the New Adult, and this was one of the very first book in the subscription. I really enjoyed myself. I read this like 3 years ago. I still remember pretty much everything, not everything, but I remember the bare minimum of what was in this book, and that's how I know I enjoyed it and how I know I want to continue the series. I do have book 2, but I think I've been putting it off because I want to have book 3 at the same time. This isn't a series I want to keep rereading. I kind of just want to read the series completed all in one go. So I've kind of been putting off for that reason, but I am really anxious to see what happened after the ending. So we are following 4 heirs within the City of Dusk, and these are heirs to 4 gods, I think, and what's happened is the gods have withdrawn their favour from their city, and the city is starting to die, and these 4 heirs are trying to do everything they can to keep the peace, but they're also kind of enemies to each other, so they clash. And I don't know if it's trials, but they're trying to regain God's favour. They're trying to establish peace in their kingdom, and an unlikely romance blossoms from this, and they're not really allowed to be together, so it's kind of like a forbidden romance at the same time. I'm really intrigued to see what happened after the cliffhanger and if things happen the way I think they're gonna happen. So I do really want to pick up book 2 quite quickly. I don't think book 3 has been announced yet, so it may be a while before I pick that up. It is a trilogy, so I just want to be able to read the trilogy all in one go. rather than having to reread the first book and then reread it again when the third book comes out. So that's pretty much why it hasn't yet been read. But I am excited for it, and I will very much read it as soon as book 3 comes out. This isn't a book that I've forgotten about or have been putting off for no reason. The Stars Are Dying by Chloe C. Penaranda. I also have to read the final book in An Heir Comes to Rise series. That series is like 5 books long. And then I have Night Defying, or The Nights Are Defying, which is book 2 in this. It's not a spin-off series, it's a connected series to the world of An Heir Comes to Rise. But I do want to do a whole reread. So I want to reread the entire An Heir Comes to Rise series with the final book, and then read the spin-off series. I think book 3's title has been announced for this series as well. So it is something I'm going to read fairly soon. It is in... Oh, can I get it? It is in my little red cup. So as soon as it's picked out from this little red cup, I will read it. I don't think I'm likely to pick it up on my own volition, because there are just so many other books that I want to read of my own volition, and I've put it in here for a reason. So I think I'm just going to wait for it to get picked out. And when it does, I think that's going to be the only book, because that's going to be like 8 books that I need to read. To Bleed a Crystal Bloom by Sarah A. Parker. I know that people have very mixed things about this series. I didn't love the first book. I was intrigued, I was interested. I had issues with the FMC in this. So it's like a Rapunzel dark retelling. And I just found the FMC to be very immature, very naive, and it's kind of expected for the way she grew up. She grew up alone in a tower, secluded, doesn't have any friends apart from one person that she secretly sees away from her keeper. And the keeper who saved her and wasn't supposed to save her, was meant to kill her, kind of keeps himself separated from the FMC. So it's kind of created this tension between them. And with that, they kind of have a romance blossom from that, and I don't really know how I feel about that romance, because he's known her since she was very young. So but he's immortal, so I don't really know how I feel about that romance. But I still need to read book 3. I've read book 1 and 2 to Snap a Silver Stem, and then book 3 is To Flame a Wildfire. But she has been picked up traditionally. I was hoping to pick up the series once book 4 has been announced, because it's been so long between book releases that I didn't want to pick up book 3 and then wait 2 years for the 4th book. So I was waiting closer to the time. She has now had this series picked up traditionally, which I was kind of expecting with Moon Comes to Hatch. No. When the Moon Hatched? Yeah, When the Moon Hatched. So I don't know if this is a series I'm going to pick up anytime soon. I'm not overly excited about it. It was okay, but I do have my issues with it. So it's why it hasn't yet been picked up. But I'm really excited to see how the ending of book 2 happens in book 3, like how that kind of resolves itself, because I there's a lot of push and pull with this book. Fear the Flames by Olivia Rose Darling. Wrath of the Dragons literally just came out 2 weeks ago, not even 2 weeks ago, well actually 3 weeks ago I think it came out. This is on, it's not on my September TBR. I don't think I'm going to have it on my priority September TBR, but I may get to it if I have the opportunity. This is something that I want to pick up quite soon. I just don't know when I'll pick it up, because there are other books that I think I want to add to my priority September TBR. But if I can pick this up on its own, I'll be very happy about that. I'm really hoping that something I was really excited about this book happens in book 2, because I was a bit disappointed that we didn't have more of it in the first book, and I'm hoping that that gets resolved in the second book. I mean, I know there are reasons why we didn't get it, at least in the first half, but the second half I was a bit disappointed that it wasn't more of a prominent feature within the book, since it seemed to be such an important part of the plot. But that may get itself resolved in book 2. I'm crossing my fingers, because if it doesn't, I'm gonna have issues. But we're following an FMC who has run away from her kingdom because her father has kept her dragons. When she was born, she was gifted with 3 dragons, I think, and her father was scared that she was going to use the dragons to overthrow him, so he kept her also imprisoned. But one day she was able to escape, but her dragons were kept within her father's kingdom. So she runs away. She then, I don't know if she created, but she founds a new kingdom of her own. and within that kingdom she's training. She always has this link to Hold Kingdom. She always has this mission that she will one day save her dragons and bring them back and set them free. One day she meets a soldier and he wants to use her to save her dragons to take over her father's kingdom, because her father's kingdom and his kingdom, they're enemies, they're clashing, and they don't want her father to get too much power and they don't want him to be in power any longer. So they form an unlikely alliance and he starts training her, and then their romance blossoms from there. It takes a very unlikely turn. I wasn't expecting how things evolve to revolve that way. It was very left field. I wasn't expecting, but it was so like necessary to the story, I think. I am very excited for book 2. I do like this book. It wasn't a 5-star because I was just like disappointed that something that I really wanted to see more of didn't happen. So I think book 2 will be the 5-star, but it's a very good series. It's so intriguing and it's so high stakes, and yeah, it's really, really good. I really enjoy the training sessions between the FMC and the MMC. I love their will they, won't they, tension, not forbidden romance, but enemies to lovers, but more like reluctant allies to lovers, I guess, because they're not really set enemies because she's not working for her father's kingdom and they have the same goal. So I really, really enjoyed that. Now, the next book on my series I'm in the middle of is Road of Bones by Demi Winters. I enjoyed this book. It was a 4-star. We're following an FMC who's on the run from the Queen. The Queen has sent assassins to kill this FMC, and her father, upon his death, has told her to take the Road of Bones to go to a faraway kingdom to be safe. Upon this Road of Bones, upon her journey, she stumbles upon a group of people, and they kind of have a very tight found family aspect, and she kind of hitches herself upon their bandwagon to have safe harbour throughout the Road of Bones, because the Road of Bones is a very dangerous path to take, and not very many people willingly take this path unless they are desperate. And she knows that as by herself she's unlikely to survive this journey, so she hides herself within their wagon and tries to go with them on the journey, but she gets found and they allow her to come with her. But she's holding secrets, they're holding secrets, and things take a turn for the worse when those secrets are revealed. I really enjoyed this book. I read it in January. It was a 4-star. I do have the next book. I just haven't yet picked it up. I haven't gotten around to it. I do want to get around to it. I just haven't yet. I am confused because on the cover of this, she has brown hair, but the cover of the second book, she has blonde hair. I don't know if that's the same person or if I'm being thick. I do think I need to reread this before picking that up because I don't think I remember everything that happens in this book, and I do think I need a bit of a refresher. I will get to this at some point this year, but let's leave it at that. I don't think it'll be added to the priority TBR in September. Next is Empire of the Vampire by J. Kristoff. This is a high fantasy vampire, obviously, book. I haven't picked this up for the sole reason that I want to pick up book 3. So I have book 2. I just want to read I think it's a trilogy. I'm pretty sure it's a trilogy. I just want to read the trilogy all together, and I'm in a very romantasy mood and I haven't really been feeling like picking up any high fantasy books. I've also been in the middle of my Brandon Sanderson Cosmere Universe read, which has been severely neglected. It's also a series that I'm in the middle of. So the Stormlight Archive, I've read book 1. I haven't yet picked up any other books, but I'm in a romantasy mood. I just want to pick up romantasies. I'm planning on getting back to it at some point, hopefully in September. It's not on a priority TBR, it's just something that I need to read. But for that reason alone, I kind of just want to prioritize Brandon Sanderson, and I haven't wanted to pick up any other high fantasy books. When I do finish my Brandon Sanderson books read, I will be picking this up as my first priority high fantasy read. But I also just want this series to be completed so I can read them all in one go and don't have to keep rereading the books, because I think that there's some elements in here that you do really need to remember before you pick up book 2, and I don't want to have to keep rereading books. So those are the 2 reasons why I haven't yet picked up that series. Anyway, Curious Tides by Pascal Lascelles. I have book 2, which is Stranger Skies. Yeah, Stranger Skies. I don't often think about this series as something I need to read. It's something I will read at some point. When that'll be, I don't know. It'll just be like, I think it'll just be a fluke thing. It'll be, I'm in the mood for this really randomly, and it'll be something I pick up. I do own book 2. I don't know why I bought it when I'm not planning on reading it anytime soon, but I just feel like this is something I'm going to read when I'm in a really random mood, when I don't want to pick up Romantasy or a really high fantasy book, and this will be just something I pick up on the side. It is easy to get through. It's really interesting, very unique plot, very unique magic. So I am very interested by this book, and I really did enjoy myself. It wasn't a 5-star. I think it was like 4-star. It is really enjoyable. I think it's a really good palette cleanser book. So when I feel like I need a palette cleanser, that is something I'm definitely going to be picking up. The Crimson Moth duology. I still need to pick up book 2, and that's been out for a while. I just feel like I formed opinions about this book before I picked it up, and when it didn't fulfill those opinions I had already established, it fell a little flat for me. It felt very reminiscent of Serpent and Dove, and I couldn't get past that. And although there are books that I pick up that are very reminiscent of other books, for some reason it just made me want to pick up Serpent and Dove and then the spin-off series more than I wanted to read the second book. I do want to read the second book, but it's not something I'm planning on. I don't know when I'll pick it up. I do own book 2. I feel like I need to reread this when I've completely forgotten what happened, and then hopefully I'll enjoy it upon a reread when I've kind of just forgotten everything about this, and then pick up book 2. But that's the problem with reading too many other people's reviews or seeing too much hype about a book, because then you'll form opinions of how it's gonna appeal to you and how you're gonna enjoy it, and then when it doesn't necessarily fulfill those opinions and you feel a bit disappointed by it, yeah, I really need to stop doing that. But you can't help it when you're on social media and you're on Book Talk. I love getting recommendations for new books, but sometimes those recommendations can go a bit left for me, because then the book doesn't end up fulfilling what I thought it was going to be. So This Woven Kingdom by Tahara Mafi. This is, I don't know how many books are supposed to be in the series. It's a YA series following an FMC who has hidden her identity to lie under the radar, because if she's found, she will be killed. And she ends up working as a maid in a noble's house. And one day, the prince of that kingdom ends up coming to that noble house, because I think they're related. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they were related. And he stumbles upon her, and all he can think of is, why is she standing out so much? She doesn't seem like a maid. There is something to this woman, and I need to know what it is. And he's instantly attracted to her, he's instantly intrigued by her, and she's panicking because she just needs to stay under the radar. She doesn't want anyone to know who she is. She's created a fake identity for herself, and when things are going wrong, when she realizes there's too much attention to her, she goes on the run. I haven't read book 3. Yeah, I think it's book 3 I haven't read. Book 4 is meant to come out in September, so I think in September I'm planning on doing a reread of books 1 and 2, picking up book 3 and then book 4. Book 2 didn't hit as hard as book 1 for me, and I think that's why I've been struggling to pick up book 3 so much, because I'm worried that book 2 wasn't a fluke and that book 3 is going to be not as enjoyable as book 1 again, because book 1 was outstanding, 5-star read, and then book 2 was like a 3.5 read. Yeah, it just didn't hold my attention. It didn't grab me as much as book 1 did, and I was a little bit disappointed. So for that reason alone, I think book 3 has been sitting unread on my shelf for a little bit too long. I'm just worried that it didn't end up being a fluke, and that I'm not going to enjoy the rest of the series, and I don't want to DNF this series, because I really, really, really enjoyed book 1. I really enjoy the world. The plot is so intriguing, and I really want more books that were like the Jasada, which is a duology, which is more new adult than this as being YA. I just want more books within this world with Egyptian and Middle Eastern ties. As an Algerian, I really, really enjoy seeing Middle Eastern Middle Eastern influence within books. So I'm really hoping I'm going to enjoy the series. I'm going to give it another shot and we'll see how that goes. Next is Reign of Shadow and Endings by Melissa K. Rowick. I haven't read this book for one reason and one reason alone. Well, I haven't read book 3 yet for one reason and one reason alone, and that is trauma. This author knows how to emotionally devastate me, to obliterate me, to make me feel like I need to be in a psych ward because I'm just staring numblessly at a wall for an hour. I will be picking up this series. Book 4 is set to be released in November, and in November I'm planning on doing an entire Melissa K. Rowick universe read. So I want to reread the Lady of Darkness series for like the 5th time, and then I want to reread the Legacy series because they're so tied together, and that you can really see elements of Lady of Darkness within the Legacy series. I really enjoy rereading the Lady of Darkness series before reading Legacy series books. So books 1 and 2 I've read. Book 1 I read after Lady of Darkness series read, and then book 2 came out and I read Lady of Darkness again before book 2. And although I know every single thing that happens in Lady of Darkness series, I remember every character, I remember literally everything about the series, I still want to reread it because it's my #1 favourite series of all time, and any excuse to go back to that world and reread it, I will take it. So November is literally going to be dedicated to Melissa K. Rowick. I think the book comes out 2 days before my birthday. I'm praying that the hardback comes out too, because I know the paperback is up for pre-order. She did say that hardback will be up, so we'll see how that goes. But I am planning on doing a whole series reread for this book. So book 3 will be read and I've already got it planned out. Next, Iron and Embers, which is book 1 in the Ashes of Thesmar series. This is a spin-off series after the Legends of Thesmar, following the sister of the FMC in Blood and Steel. After effects of the war has severely impacted this FMC, she lost a lot of people she loved, and she is not coping with that loss. She is on a vengeance streak and has secluded herself from everyone she loves, and very much changed from the FMC she was in book 1. And when something happens, she gets called back and gets asked to attend this academy for alchemists, which is what she is. And it's been a dream of hers to attend this school, but every time she applied, she was rejected because her mentor wasn't willing to write a recommendation for her because of the path she decided to take of vengeance. And she said that as soon as you end your vengeance streak and you are able to put everything aside and accept what happened in the war, I will write you a letter of recommendation and you can attend this academy. But because of a plot that's unfolding, she gets asked to attend this academy to keep an eye on things, make sure something's not happening, and she attends this academy with a bodyguard, which is her love interest and was her love interest in Blood and Steel, but they kind of had a bit of a clash. She wasn't willing to start this romance, wasn't willing to be in this romance because of what happened after the war, and he was in denial about everything. The way this book ended absolutely devastated me. I did not see that coming at all. I don't know why that had to happen. Well, I do, but I'm just like, why? After everything that happened, why? Why can't they be happy? So I've got Thorns and Fire to read, which I will be adding to my priority TBR, I think, because I just really want to get to this series. I really want to see how this ended. Helen Shearer, I will reread her books a million times and never get bored. So I'm going to be rereading and annotating book 1, because I never annotate on a first read. So I want to annotate book 1 and then read book 2. So I'm really, really, really excited. It's funny, going through these series, I do have plans to read quite a lot of them. So I do think this list will be halved by the end of the year. So I'm not really worried. I think that's quite good. I do have one other book I'm in the middle of, but I have just made the decision to DNF the series, and that is the Foxglove King series. I did take it to start reading it yesterday, and I think I got 50 pages in, and then I read my review of it and I was like, do you know what, I'm not excited for this book, because now I remember what happened in the end and why I was disappointed by this book. I don't want to go through that again. And a lot of people told me that I shouldn't waste my time. So I'm not going to waste my time. I'm going to DNF the series. I'm going to unhaul books 1 and 2. I'm not going to buy book 3, obviously. And that's just going to be it. Because that book got passed over from TBR to TBR to TBR for very good reason. I obviously wasn't excited to read this. I didn't want to read it. And I'm not going to waste my time when I have so many books that I need to be reading. So that doesn't count. But yeah, 15 book series I'm in the middle of. It will be 13 by September, so I think that's pretty good. It's not too bad. Way more than I thought, but by the end of the year, we'll be down to like 6, hopefully. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, subscribe if you would like to. Comment what book series you are in the middle of that you're really anxious to get to, and if there are any books in this list that I should prioritize reading as soon as possible. And I will see you in my next one. Bye.